Into our next guest of the hour. This is Blythe Brumlove. She is the host of Cyberly. Blythe, how are you doing? Good morning. How are things?
Good morning to you both. Thanks for having me. It's NFL draft week. I'm wearing my Jaguars print to show solidarity with my team's #1 overall pick again. So hopefully we can just only way to go is up from here.
Next to the draft, of course, some big news. Elon Musk buying Twitter.
Yes, we talked last week, especially during the episode of Cyberly, about the issue with content moderation. And if Elon Musk were to actually buy out Twitter, how would he fix the issue of content moderation? It's an incredibly difficult task in order to tackle. It's both a problem on the tech side with, spam and bot software that's been created. And then it's also a problem on the human side where a lot of the people that there's only so much software that can block, a lot of the negative things, the hateful things that are uploaded to the internet every day. But then on the personal side, that next level is a human person having to review anywhere from up to 300 pieces of just negative content every single day. And that really takes a toll on that person's psyche. A lot of these employees, they only last around 90 days on the job of reviewing this sort of, the worst parts of the internet, reviewing it every single day. And then when they get let go or they don't perform up to task, or it's just not a job that they want to be in anymore, then they suffer a lot of PTSD. And then when they leave that job, they don't have access to regular therapy in order to deal with that PTSD. So content moderation is a huge issue. And with Elon Musk actually purchasing Twitter, it sort of spawned a lot of these updates on how he would tackle, how he would tackle both content moderation, but then also allow for, I don't want to say the influx of free speech, but sort of take down, a lot of those barriers for a lot of different accounts and sort of the way that they are applying the rules of sort of Twitter's terms of service and how they would apply those rules to everybody. And Elon Musk has sort of, been publicly stating and publicly tweeting all week of how he would combat these different problems. And it's sort of interesting to look at how he would tackle, both taking the company private by trying to get rid of all of the bot accounts that are on the account or that are on the platform, not just on Twitter, but really it could be a blueprint of how he tackles content moderation that maybe these other social media companies would be able to take a cue or take a play out of his playbook in order to try to tackle this just enormous issue of content moderation that happens online.
It is going to be really interesting to see what he ends up doing. And if Elon Musk has shown us anything, is he can usually do exactly what he puts his mind to, like buying Twitter. Right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's a guy he's sort of like this, a Tony Stark level, like mad genius billionaire. And you're not exactly sure of which way he's going to go with the different, technologies and companies that he's built. But you could make the argument that he has dragged certain industries into the modern era and revolutionized them. And with Tesla and SpaceX, Neuralink, there's also, his satellite, trying to bring internet to the variety of different places all over the world where they, have had issues with trying to get internet, the Starlink satellite system. So there are lots of cool things that he's been doing with all of his different various companies. So it's actually really exciting for a platform like Twitter that has stayed sort of stagnant for a while as far as growth numbers are concerned, advertising revenue is concerned. And so what his approach and what he's going to take in the software that he would bring to the platform, I'm really fascinated to watch this new sort of journey into a social media platform that has been around for a while, but what changes they implement could very well affect the landscape of the rest of the social media channels.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, switching gears just a little bit, let's talk about marketing jobs, the turnover rate. What are we seeing maybe when it comes to LinkedIn marketing jobs?
Sure. So LinkedIn marketing, they just released this new study on all of the different changes that are going on. I mean, everybody knows that there's, over the last couple of years that there have been a lot of issues around, sort of dealing with the great resignation and the great reshuffle, whatever phrase you kind of want to put on it. Workers are technically in the most powerful position that they've ever been in historically in sort of the employment world, and how they're choosing to work, where they're choosing to work. It's all been been a huge shift, especially in the marketing space, especially when it comes to marketing agencies. Marketing agencies, speaking from personal experience, they have been some of the best places to work, but also the most demanding places to work, where you are working for a variety of different clients. You're also, tasked with doing a lot of different, creative output for sometimes, 60, 70, 100 hours a week, every single week. And a lot of these workers are facing burnout, and they're saying, well, why should I be doing this for an agency when I can just pick 2 or 3 different clients and do this on my own, work less hours, and make more money? And that's what a lot of different marketers are doing. Last year alone, 600,000 marketing employees left agency life and went solo. And so with this new LinkedIn marketing jobs report, it says that even in addition to that, over 60% of marketers are considering changing their jobs this year, and 1 in 4 are actively searching for a new role. So this LinkedIn marketing jobs report was really sort of a helpful guide for these different agencies out here that are already suffered from major losses on the employee headcount, but are likely going to continue to suffer more losses. And how do you deal with that? Do you bring in more software tools? Do you bring in more automation tools? Do you just choose to have just a hybrid remote work lifestyle? There are a lot of different variables that LinkedIn was suggesting. So we're going to dive more into that in tomorrow's show, and how some of these different tools can help what the one-person marketing team, or also help some of these agencies survive with losing a lot of this different headcount. So it's really sort of a brave new world that we find ourselves in when it comes to marketing roles, where you either hire somebody that can kind of do it all, or you hire a marketing agency and hope that they're not going to face that kind of turnover.
I would say this report does not surprise me. I mean, not at all. We talk about it, our own experiences, our friends. People want a flexible work environment. If they can do it from home, they want to be able to do it. If they can, work this job and then work that job part-time, they want to be able to do it. And personally, it just seems like if companies don't get things moving, they're going to be the last ones out, and they're going to be the ones, holding the brunt of not having those employees.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, because a lot of these different marketing agencies, especially the way that they're structured, the leadership at the top doesn't have to sort of get in and get their hands dirty again with, editing videos or writing copy for websites and things like that. Now they're probably going to have to. The question is if they're going to utilize tools or continue to try to hire in order to fill those gaps. Because the other side of it that we haven't really talked about is the growth in the freelancer market. So Fiverr, Upwork, Marketing Hire, a lot of these different companies that have come about, and they're really sort of centrally focused on specific tasks. So it's really a big challenge for a lot of different companies out there, that they don't know what to hire, but the companies that do know what to hire, they're also run the risk of losing those specialized employees or those specialized freelancers to other contract work. So it's not necessarily a service that they can sell on a regular basis if they don't have the guaranteed person in order to fill those roles, which is usually what is happening with a lot of these different freelancer job, platforms like a Fiverr, like an Upwork. So you have the specialized workers over here, but you can't exactly hire them on a full-time basis. So it makes the challenge in the whole sort of, supply chain of marketing talent all that more challenging in order to navigate.
Absolutely, Blythe. Now, one question I did want to ask you is, we're talking about Google Analytics and why people need to upgrade theirs.
Yeah, so this is such a huge issue that's going on right now, and it's really sort of just it's almost too much, because there's companies that, from a marketing perspective, that we've had Google Analytics on our sites for more than a decade, and this growing change of how we have to now upgrade to a totally new platform. Google is getting rid of their universal analytics. You have to upgrade within the year, otherwise your analytics, the free data that you've been getting on your website, is not going to be supported a year from now. So everybody has to get upgraded to Google Analytics 4, which is causing a lot of issues. But at the end of the day, it is better overall for data privacy reasons and for reporting reasons. It just feels very frustrating to lose, sort of 10 years worth of data and start fresh. But I guess, it's sort of the theme of the conversation for today, that it's a whole new world that we're sort of trying to navigate through. And so if we're trying to navigate through, different workers and different software to use, it only makes sense to sort of refresh on what kind of data that we're taking in on all of our various different marketing platforms, and then starting refresh and figuring out what we need to measure. And that's one of our bigger topics that we're going to focus on tomorrow, is what do we need to actually measure with our analytics to make it actionable?
Thank you so much, Blythe. Now, tell us what time tomorrow. You mentioned a couple things, but what can we expect? What time can we hear things?
Every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here live on FreightWaves TV. We're going to be talking about marketing analytics. We're also going to be joined by a couple different guests that are going to be talking about their experience in the marketing side of things in freight marketing. So it's going to be a really fun conversation, and also some Q&As. I'm going to mix in some questions that viewers have asked me, and so I'm going to tackle those tomorrow on the live show as well.
Well, we can't wait to hear it, Blythe. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
We'll be checking back in with more on FreightWaves Now coming up next.